Yes, our video today is about formulating a clear problem statement in social science research. As a matter of culture, before we continue, please, it's important to ensure that you subscribe to the channel and also give a thumbs up in case the video was helpful or it was of great interest to you. And also, not forget to share with the colleagues, friends, and students as a way of showing care to them. And more importantly, give a comment in case you have a comment or a question so that we can have a further discussion on the channel. In my introduction, I want to start by saying a problem is a cause for action in research. Why? It is the reason for conducting research. Problem statement is the heartbeat of the research. And of course, there is no research without the problem. There is no need for research without having a problem to study. There is no need to conduct the study in case the researcher does not have something we call a problem. Every element of research is best built out of the problem. And by so saying, I'm trying to say you need to formulate every element of your research based on your problem and that you are intending to undertake. So problem statement or a problem is the building block of the study. And the problem statement is the foundation for the best research. It's supposed to be the first thing in mind of the researcher to think about when you intend to conduct the study. And a well-formulated problem statement gives the best foundation in the research project. If a research was a computer, I'll refer the research problem as a motherboard. And in human being, I'll refer to a research problem as a central nervous system because there's no human without the central nervous system. Central nervous system in the human body is the center of everything. So is the research problem. In a car, I'll refer it as an engine. And for the house, the research problem will best be referred as a foundation. And what do we mean by research problem then? We need to define the concept research problem or just describe it to make sure that you understand it. So it is a statement that presents a solution seeking concern that is negatively affecting people or service and many other things that people are doing them in the areas of study, whether academically or in an industry where humans are working. It is about the condition that need improvement in the industrial practice or in the literature where you find some of the content are not clear or understandable to some readers or the readers overall in the profession. Research problem is a concern or a trouble that affect a particular subject related industrial practice or theory and literature content that is not clear or has gaps to be closed. And closing the gaps, you need to conduct a study. So this is a situation that makes things or processes not to run normal or properly as required or expected for concerned or affected people and organization. For instance, certain services are not rendered sufficiently or completely not rendered due to unavailability. I mean, the service may be unavailable due to this kind of concerns. And as a result of such situations or concern, people are being affected, services are not being rendered, or they are rendered in such a way that is not satisfying the recipient or the clients. So relating research problem statement to other things in life. In a computer, like I said, I'll refer a research problem as a motherboard, because motherboard is the center of everything in the computer. And any human being, like also I said, central nervous system is the center of everything to the whole system in human body. And in a car, research problem will refer to as an engine, because there's no car movement or operation is required without the engine. In a transport, the driver is a good example of the research problem, because without a driver, the transport cannot move. And in sport, I'll refer the problem statement or a problem as a referee, because referee control everything in sports, and the referee can stop the game at any time. And yes, and for soccer, a playground, I'll refer it to a center where where the game starts. The game starts at the center of the soccer playground. For the building, like I said, foundation will be the best example of the research problem. So if you solve you have the foundation, then the house can be erected. CBD can be a good example when we refer to the city as a research. And the country, you know, there's no country without a president. The president controls everything and can stop everything and can initiate anything new in the country. In any organization, obviously, you have your chairperson, you have your CEO, you have your president, depending on how you name it. Then these people can control the organization. So is this research problem. Without the research problem, there will be no research. And without all these elements, each of these things may not exist. So what? Problem statement need to be clear and defined to the reader in such a way that is understandable, to make sure that the reader is flow well with reading within the content. It must give a clear scope to be manageable, and it should guide or give direction to research objectives and questions. So research objectives and questions should best build out of the best research problem statement. It should clearly explain context of the concern and environment in which it happens. Furthermore, although at times it may be complex than simple, you need to understand that to arrive at the best and effective solution. So without understanding the problem statement or the problem of the research project, it will always be difficult for you to arrive at the best and effective solution for such a problem, because you don't understand the problem. You don't understand what you want to solve. So ensure that it is researchable and interesting to your target audience, because at the end of the day, your end product, which is the research report or in a form of article or thesis or dissertations, it will end up landing on the hands of the readers, who will read it and give some further research and inputs and discussions out of it. It should be relevant and interesting to target audience or readers. Like I said, I'm trying to emphasize the reason for problem statements. There's a reason for doing anything in any field, any industrial activities. So it's the same applies to the research problem statement. So there are two categories of reasons. I try to categorize them into two. The other reason has to do with the reason behind the study. Why do you do the study? So the problem is the key reason for the study, like I said. And the other part is the introducing the study to the reader. I'll start with the reason behind the study. So the reason behind the study is to provide reasons for the study to the readers, like I said, and to also to give direction to the readers where the study started and where it's going, and to identify issues of concern to be studied. What are you studying? You need to clearly outline that and point out to the readers. And also, introducing study to the reader. Introduce the readers to the center of the study. Show them what is the study all about, and give readers the cause for action. So the problem statement will best give your audience all these reasons which are required or that they need to know in order to flow or go with your study. Consideration in formulating problem statement. What do you consider when you formulate the problem statement? There are many things that you need to consider so that your problem statement can be interesting and to the readers or audience. The parameters of the study. So you have to have the boundaries for a study. Your study cannot just be open to everything in the world. Avoid being too generic and point out exact problem for the study. You cannot research about all the problems in the world in one study. And then again, you need to consider or to avoid sweeping statements, and that is just generalizing issues. You need to be focused, to the point, show the scope for your research. And implications and consequences, explain how the situation being investigated affect people or the service delivery. So if it does not affect anyone, it is not a problem. If it does not affect any service, it is not a problem. So the other thing to consider is necessity for the study. Show why it is necessary to conduct this study in hand in relation to the problem pointed out. What are you trying to solve with the study? Citing sources, very important. You need to cite studies, other people's studies related to your study. Try to support your taking with sources, whether primary or secondary sources, or both, in order to support your statements in the problem or statement of the problem. And the other thing that you need to consider is confusing problem with cause of problems. These are two different things, and they need to be clear to the readers. Avoid confusing problem with the cause of the problem. So in your discussion, you must show or point out the main problem of the study, and then you may discuss in support of it, showing what might be the causes, what you suspect to be causing the problem, so that the readers can understand and flow well with your study. The other thing that you need to consider is contradicting problem statement with the background. So the two are different, and you need to show difference as you discuss them. So in your try to focus on discussing problem for the study than repeating or continuing background statements under the problem statement section. The last thing, even if not last, these are they are only things which came to my mind when I compiled this presentation. But the last thing that I thought of is answer to the reader. Try to answer the question of so what to the readers. So after reading, the readers must not still remain with the question of then what. So identify gaps and show how you intend to close these gaps with your study in hand. So the elements to be considered in the problem statement, there are several elements that you need to consider when you compile your problem statement. So one thing first, consider normal situation. What is the normal situation without a problem? The situation without a problem currently under study. How normal is it? How is the normal situation without the problem? So how does things run smoothly without this problem? So you need to show that in your statement of the problem. And then also show the abnormal situation, the situation with the problem. And how is the abnormal situation with the problem? How does this situation affect people and services? You must show the difference from the normal and the abnormal situation that is happening with the problem. How does the problem interfere with the normal situation? And then the other thing you need to consider suspected causes. What do you think might be the cause of the problem? So what is the suspected cause to the current concern? And the other thing to consider is the consequences. What may be the bad results? What damages may this problem bring, or this situation cause for concern bring into to the people or even the service delivery? How is it going to affect them? So the last thing that you may think of is tentative solution. What do you think can best resolve the situation? What may be the solution? What may be done to prevent or combat this problem or prevent it from happening? So such kind of things, these are the key elements, even if they may not be the only ones, but I consider this key in your problem statement. Presenting a research problem. How do you go about presenting your research problem? There are no command rules or obligation about how you can present your research problem. That is the reason different studies present it differently. So you may not find a standard form in which every study is following it. What is important is that it must be clear and understandable to the reader. So your problem statement must be clear and understandable. That is the key. Then I try to give you two examples to which most of the researchers write the strategies which they use. So the first one, you find the situation in which other people start by pointing out the problem and then support it with discussion of the background, showing what might be tentative causes, its implication on the people as clients and service providers, and also service delivery, or only service delivery, or how it affects people, or how it affects the service delivery. And the other example is that one in which other researchers start by presenting the real situation without the problem, showing how things run smoothly, and then present the situation with the present of the problem, showing how badly service will be or is affected or rendered incorrectly with unsatisfying service rendered. Finally, they show what they believe to be the solution to the current situation under the problem and what the study intend to achieve. So how does this study attempt to bring the solution to the problem going forward? This is the two examples I have. And finally, to my conclusion, I would like to emphasize that in my conclusion, the problem is the reason for the research. So which means there's no need or use for you to start researching or conducting the research study without having a problem. The key reason for research is to address the problem. So if you start or initiate a research project without a problem, what are you intending to solve? Nothing. This implies that there is no research without a problem. All studies intend to address certain problems. Do not research if there is no problem about it, because there's nothing that you are intending to solve. Finally, I would like to thank you, and more importantly, try to remind you about subscribing to the channel. Give a thumbs up in case the video was good for you, and comment for further discussion, and also ask clarity seeking questions. I will address them, and other researchers will also come in to respond. And the last key thing is to share the video so that you can help other people who are also interested on the same research subject area. And there is my contact in case you want to come to me directly for anything or any purpose. And with that, I would like to thank you for watching, and goodbye.